Did historians discover the shocking truth about Mary's death or her divine ascension? Few knew what truly happened that night in the stillness of Jerusalem. A hush fell over the land as whispers of an unusual event began to circulate. Was Mary, the mother of Jesus, truly gone, or had she ascended into the heavens? The mystery captivated all who heard it. It was a night like no other. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the ancient stone streets. A chill filled the air, heavy with the scent of incense, and a crowd gathered near the tomb. Fear mingled with hope. They spoke in hushed tones of signs and wonders that had filled their days since Jesus' resurrection. Then, their focus turned to Mary, the one person who cradled the miracle of life within her. Some claimed she fell into a deep sleep, not death. Others swore they saw a brilliant light radiating from her tomb, illuminating the night sky. The elders, wise yet wary of the unknown, exchanged glances of disbelief. The air crackled with tension, pregnant with unexplainable energy. What would they say? Were these mere tales spun from fervent imaginations, or were they witnessing the divine? Meanwhile, stories of healings and whispers of angels fluttered through the crowd like doves, lifting the spirits of the faithful. Yet, a sense of dread lingered. What if her ascension was her true calling? What if her departure left a void too vast to fill? Silence fell, broken by the gasp of a woman clutching her child. Did she truly leave us? Her voice trembled, echoing the doubts that loomed large. Those gathered could not shake the feeling that something monumental was unfolding, a riddle wrapped in the fabric of their shared faith. The temple priests were torn. Would they embrace this truth or condemn it as blasphemy? Each felt the weight of destiny pressing down on their shoulders. As night deepened, unearthly sounds filled the air. A choir of celestial voices? Or just the wind? The questions hung, heavy in the hearts of the onlookers. God's plan felt tantalizingly close, yet disturbingly vague. They sensed they stood at the edge of revelation, with no clear way forward. And there it was, a single brilliant star darted across the sky, disappearing with a sharp flicker. The crowd gasped. Was this a sign? A promise? The wonder mixed with dread weighed heavily in the air, each breath shared with uncertainty. What truly happened to Mary that night? As the heavens seemed to shift and stir, was she guiding them from above, or simply whispering, "I am with you"? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the crowd huddled together, a gentle wind blew through the olive trees, stirring the leaves in an ancient symphony. Each rustle seemed to beckon them closer to the heart of the mystery that lingered around Mary's tomb. The flickering flames of the torches cast wavering shadows, reflecting the turmoil of emotions painted on the faces of those gathered. Come closer," urged a voice from the back. It was an old fisherman, brittle yet bright with the remnants of youth, who had known Jesus intimately. "Let us share our fears and our hopes. Perhaps, in our sharing, we might glimpse the truth. All of us experienced miracles through Jesus. Why should this be any different?" His words compelled many to step forward, and soon tales flowed like water. Some recounted visions of Mary speaking softly in dreams, her presence a balm to their troubled hearts. Others recalled the way she had cradled her son, that tender gaze of maternal love, now rippling into the ether. Each story carried threads of connection, threads that began to weave a tapestry of faith and wonder. She was the vessel of grace, one woman proclaimed, her eyes bright with conviction. Is it not fitting that she should ascend to the heavens, just as he did? Might she be guiding us still? Yet, equally fervent were the voices of caution. But what if this is just illusion born from our sorrow? What if we are left to grapple with vacancy? A man spoke from the edge of the crowd, his brow furrowed in concern, fearing the weight of hope might crush them if left unfulfilled. As discussions heightened, a child, no more than 8 years old, tugged at her mother's robe and whispered, "What if she is with the angels, singing lullabies like she did for Jesus. The purity of her question momentarily hushed the crowd. Could it be that Mary had taken her place among the divine, sending blessings from another realm? Suddenly, as if in response to the thoughts swirling in the atmosphere, a glow enveloped the tomb. Strands of light danced like fireflies, illuminating the stone facade. The crowd collectively gasped, feeling the warmth envelop them, igniting a spark of hope mingled with trepidation that in that moment of divine connection, an elder priest stepped forth, bearing a heavy heart, yet seeking discernment. We must unveil not only the truth of this night, but the truth of our own faith. If Mary ascended, what does that mean for us? Are we to be the keepers of her legacy, or just mere witnesses? The question hung in the air, trembling with possibility. As they pondered the implications of Mary's departure, a profound silence ensued, allowing reflection space to breathe. What kind of lives would they live, guided by her legacy? Were they ready to embrace this new path, leading towards a broader understanding of their faith? As the last glow flickered and receded, a sense of determination awakened in the hearts of many. They felt a stirring within, an invitation to carry forward the virtues exemplified by the Mother of Jesus: compassion, humility, and unyielding love. Yet the essence of the questions remained afresh, more daunting than before. Would they gather the courage to step into this new dawn? Or would they falter, paralyzed by fear of the unknown? What would truly become of their faith, now poised at the precipice of understanding, echoing in the darkness of uncertainty? The crowd remained still in the twilight, a moment suspended in time, as the weight of the elder's question permeated the air. What did it mean, indeed, for them to embrace the legacy of Mary? The flickering shadows grew longer, hinting at the oncoming night, yet inside each heart, a new light began to stir. As the eldest among them reflected, a hush fell over their gathering. An atmosphere transformed, almost ethereal, wrapped in the breath of anticipation. It was broken by the soft voice of a woman named Miriam, whose hands bore the marks of toil, yet cradled an unyielding spirit. "We must not forget, love begets love," she said. "If Mary is with the angels, as our child spoke, her love would still flow to us like a river. Surely, we are called to love and to serve, to honor her by embodying that very essence she taught us through her life." Around her, heads nodded in agreement. Each word seemed to resonate with the struggles they all carried: fear, heartache, and confusion, but also the threads of hope that had bound them together through Christ. They were not merely witnesses to loss. They were inheritors of a shared promise. Then, an echo arose from the back, a voice trembling with the weight of grief. "But is love enough? We bear the weight of history, the burden of understanding what she truly meant. After all the miracles, we still question, is this a destiny or merely a dream?" It came from a young man named Nathanael, who had once followed Jesus, but now wrestled with uncertainties akin to shadows in the night. Addressing him directly, the fisherman spoke again. "It is not simply love. It is also faith and action. We carry her essence in our actions. In what ways, my friends, have we seen her love manifested? Have we expressed it in our dealings, in our communities, in our very understanding of being one united in his name?" Encouraged by the elder's words, voices began to surge forth, recalling moments of kindness they had witnessed: the way Mary had tended to the lepers, how she had unearthed joy amidst despair during the early days of her son's ministry. Her unbreakable spirit embodied grace. They spoke of the sick that had been healed, the hungry that had been fed, and how her story intertwined with their own. Each tale sparked more thoughts, echoing the perfect union they had experienced through their shared faith in Jesus and the love they held for Mary. Within a mosaic of memories, her love became a guiding star, illuminating their confused minds. Through contemplations, a new weightiness emerged, to not just honor Mary but to emulate her. As dusk deepened, they began to glimpse the profound responsibility that came with such legacy. Yet, the lingering question remained, hanging like the scent of evening blooms in the air: how would they truly walk this path? Could they truly embody her spirit, or would they falter as doubts crept in? The congregation fell into silence once more, the echoes of testimony weaving together a new understanding that hung heavy yet hopeful. Their souls stirred with anticipation for what they might do next. Yet, Amid the dawning sense of purpose lay more questions than answers. Can one life truly change the world? Will they sacrifice their own burdens to carry forward a light? Or will the shadows of fear eclipse their resolve? What might become of faith that arises amid uncertainty, here on the precipice of a new reality? As the night embraced them, the low murmur of shared memories began to fade into contemplative silence. The moon, cloaked by shifting clouds, cast a dim glow over the gathering. In that quiet, a sense of purpose began to coalesce within each heart, tempered by the weight of unresolved questions and doubts. Miriam, her hands still trembling slightly with the recent surge of fervor, broke the silence once more. If we seek to embody Mary, then perhaps we must look not only to her love, but also her unwavering belief in the divine plan at work, she proposed, her voice carrying the echo of their earlier discussions. In embracing our call to serve, have we found that same faith? How do we know that our actions will indeed echo her essence? With those words, a palpable restlessness crept into the crowd. Eyes turned towards Nathaniel, who appeared deep in thought. The vulnerability of his earlier question resonated within them all. The same uncertainty coursed through their minds like an uninvited specter. I sought to follow him, yet I abandoned my path amidst the trials, Nathaniel confessed, his eyes cast down. But perhaps in this coming together, we can support one another in our doubts. We can find strength in remembering that even the disciples faltered, yet they pressed on. Mary's faith was not without its trials. She bore the weight of prophecy, the weight of knowing she was the mother of the Savior. But still, she moved forward. Stirred by his words, the elder fisherman interjected again, sensing the tides of faith rising amidst the shadows of uncertainty. Indeed, brothers and sisters, we must not lean solely on our understanding of Mary's legacy. We should embrace the unknown as part of our journey. In the face of doubt, we must embrace community. Where we stand together, we amplify each other's courage. Amidst the group, a feeling of anticipation flickered like the flames of the torches appointed to guide their path. Bits of courage began to emerge from the collective vulnerability, as if the very essence of Mary hovered in the air around them. The question of how to embody Mary grew weighty, a tangible resource drawing them closer together. Then a faint whisper drifted through the night. Could we truly love in this way, as she did? How can we reconcile our own troubles with the spirit of service she exemplified? It was an unassuming voice, belonging to a quiet woman named Leah, whose affinity for the sacred mirrored her own struggles. Each nodded in acknowledgement as Leah continued. In a world teeming with chaos, how do we carry that legacy forward without losing ourselves in the mire of our fears and disappointments? If Mary transcended her suffering through divine love, can we not also seek that divine connection? For a moment, her question echoed in the silence that enveloped them, illuminating a lingering complexity within their souls. The narratives of heartache they all carried varied greatly, yet the threads of hope wove them into a larger tapestry. In the embraces of the gathered, through the power of their remembrance, they began to form a mosaic of what it might mean to embody Maria, plunge into limitless possibilities defined by collective courage and love. They could see the flicker of light ahead, yet it still felt just beyond their reach. Shrouded in shadows of their past failures, as dawn's first light began to stretch across the sky. A renewed sense of purpose painted their hearts. And yet, with renewed hope came another wave of questions. Would they be able to hold on to this unity when faced with the trials of real life? If they were to be vessels of such extraordinary love, would they falter again when burdened by adversity? How would they inspire each other to manifest this collective resolve in a world yearning for the light they felt kindling within? As the sun began to rise, casting golden rays upon the gathering, they stood on the brink of potential, yet the mystery of their path forward was just beginning to unfold. The sun stretched its arms across the horizon, gilding the scattered clouds in hues of orange and gold. The warmth that followed enveloped the group, stirring life into the shadows that had lingered through the night. Each face, now illuminated, bore the imprints of reflection and hope, yet equally of uncertainty and fear. As they stood together, a restless energy coursed through them, tethering to the questions that had arisen, seeking answers like seekers of old in the heart of the crowd. Miriam found her voice again, emboldened by the dawning day. The legacy we aspire to embody is not found in mere emulation, but in genuine connection, the threading of our individual stories into a singular testament. To understand Mary is to embrace her challenges alongside her triumphs. She bore witness to a world fraught with peril, yet chose to heed the whispers of divine encouragement. Can we not do the same? Her words hung in the air, each person feeling the pull of sincerity. Nathaniel nodded, now emboldened by the warmth of companionship. We know of Mary's journey, yet her path was also marked by perplexities. The visit from Gabriel was but the beginning, an invitation cloaked in the fear of the unknown. What did she feel when she heard the news? How did she reconcile such overwhelming knowledge with her reality? He spoke with a fervor that ignited curiosity among them all. Leah's eyes sparkled with newfound understanding. Perhaps in our own uncertainties, we can explore the questions that Mary faced. When she endured public scrutiny, did she find solace in the company of others? Did she, too, wonder if she would lose herself to what life required of her after accepting the divine calling? The group exchanged glances, their imaginations igniting the possibilities surrounding her story. Within the vulnerability of that moment, they recognized their shared humanity. Each of their burdens echoed in the heart of Mary. An elder, who had listened intently, stepped forward. Do you think, in those moments of doubt, a single moment might have pivoted her faith? As trials arose, did she plead for understanding? Or did she embrace the mystery, learning to trust in what she could not control? His voice was laced with an earnest wisdom, as if from years spent wrestling the same questions. The gathering fell into a contemplative silence once more, pondering the weight of that question. Was there a point when Mary's faith transformed from mere acceptance to an active, resolute belief that became her strength? Would they, too, encounter such pivotal moments in their journeys, when clarity and resolve melded into one? As the sun continued its ascent, casting long shadows behind them, they felt a palpable sense of destiny weaving its way through their lives. This gathering was a mere glimpse into the unfolding legacy before them, yet the path remained uncertain. They felt the stirring of purpose in their hearts, a longing to not merely carry Mary's essence, but to make their own marks in the world. Yet shadowed doubts lingered, just at the periphery of their newfound inspiration. Would they falter under the weight of their own doubts when faced with adversity? Would their commitment to community withstand the inevitable tribulations they would encounter? How could they turn their shared insights into actions that would resonate not just amongst themselves, but in a world desperately seeking meaning? As the sun welcomed the children of the dawn, the air was thick with expectation. The journey of embodying Mary had begun, yet its path remained obscured, filled with questions yearning for answers yet to come. Each heart beat in rhythm to the same unspoken prayer. May they find the courage to pursue the divine despite the unknown, and may the stories they crafted bring forth the light that the world so fervently awaited. With every heart aligned in this quest, they stepped forward, knowing the next chapter was theirs to write, a divine call waiting to be embraced. The expressions of hope and doubt lingered in the air like the fading mist of dawn as the group made their way to the edge of the gathering. The sun climbed higher, revealing the vastness of their surroundings, so world alive with the potential of stories yet to unfold. As they walked, the gentle rustle of leaves accompanied them, whispering of life, growth, and the unseen forces that weave through every existence. Bethany, a quiet soul often lost in thought, broke the silence, her eyes reflective as she gazed towards the horizon. What if it wasn't just Mary's strength that carried her through her trials? What if there were others, women like her, whose stories intersected with the divine, each one holding a shard of truth that illuminates the wrinkled folds of prophecy and promise? With a gentle nod from Nathaniel, the conversation began to flow more freely, nurturing their minds like water to thirsty soil. We often focus on the singular journey of Mary, yet throughout history, women have stood firm against the tempests of life. Were there not those along her path, her kin, perhaps, who shared in her joys and burdens? Was Elizabeth not a sturdy rock in her time of need when she first learned of her own miraculous conception? As they moved, his words ignited a fire of recollection in the hearts of the others. Leah added, "Consider Ruth and Naomi, or Deborah leading her people. These women were not just mere spectators. They took bold actions and chose faith even when the odds were against them. Could their stories have intertwined with Mary's in ways that we have yet to uncover? The elder who had spoken before paused to consider their thoughts, his gaze piercing and wise. Indeed, the legacy of faith is often woven from the threads of many souls. It is essential, too, to acknowledge the communal nature of divine encounters. Each experience is an echo of another wave's reverberating through time. But tell me, dear ones, as you ponder on this, do you also see the burdens these women bore? The weight of expectation, the piercing judgments, the unbearable silence left by those who refused to see them. A heaviness settled in the group as they contemplated the elder's words. The ease with which they romanticized Mary's life did not account for the trials she had faced, the piercing abandonment, the weight of being the vessel for something as monumental as divine hope. In that moment, Miriam leaned closer, her spirit swirling with compassion. Could we imagine the moment of doubt reflected in Mary's eyes as she thought of her own imperfections? Did she ever question whether she was indeed worthy of such a calling? The world expected her to be perfect, yet every true story speaks of growth through trials, doesn't it? When faced with adversity, did she, too, feel the urge to retreat from the light meant for her? There was a chorus of murmurs, resonating with truth and anguish, and a palpable bonding of their spirits. Each one understood the depth of vulnerability that made Mary so relatable, yet also extraordinary. The possibility that she, too, had moments when she faltered, raised a vital question. Might those moments have forged an unbreakable connection to the very love she bore? As the sun glimmered above, heralding the promise of a new day, they were confronted with their own reflections, the courage to embrace their uncertainties, and the power of community to bolster their resolve. How could they, like Mary, confront their own hesitations while also uplifting those around them? With heartbeats synchronized to the rhythms of divine mystery, they pressed on, each contemplation revealing layers yet untouched. The desire to explore their interconnected journeys of faith catalyzed a revelation aching to be discovered. Yet, lingering in the depth of their newfound clarity, a question hung palpably in the air. What if the call to action was not just a solitary journey, but a collective awakening, beckoning them to rise as a testament to all those who have carried the burden of divine whispers before them? As the group continued their journey towards the gathering place, the sunlight poured over them, warm and inviting. Yet they could not dismiss the chilly tug of the questions coursing through their minds. They walked in silence for a while, allowing their thoughts to wander to the complexities of faith and womanhood, seeking to uncover the profound tapestry of stories that surrounded Mary. As they approached the rocky hill that marked the site of their gathering, Nathanael stumbled upon a small glade, carpeted with wildflowers swaying gently in the wind. The beauty struck him, reminding him of how oftentimes hope blooms where least expected. Look here, he beckoned the others, kneeling to examine the delicate petals. Is there not something sacred about this place? It's as if the earth knows the secrets of the women whose lives have threaded through time, each blossom a whisper of reverence for those who have chosen faith amidst uncertainty. Bethany joined him, her fingers tracing the outline of a flower. What if these flowers are like the stories we find in Scripture? Each one a testament to resilience, to overcoming fears and insecurities. Can we imagine the stories of other women who faced unimaginable trials but stood firm in their faith, like Mary? Leah pondered, will we ever know the precise weight of the burdens each of these women carried? Oftentimes, men write our histories, sculpted by their perspective. But what if those narratives hide the depth of our trials, boiling them down to mere footnotes or side characters? Are we not, like Mary, deserving of the fullness of our stories being told? An ephemeral quiet fell upon them, broken only by the gentle rustling of leaves overhead. Mirroring the profound questions embedded in their hearts, the wind seemed to hold its breath, waiting for their next revelation. The elder, who had quietly observed their reflections, spoke softly. Every story is significant. The narratives of women often speak the loudest in the silence of the pages left unturned. What can we learn from the gaps in history, the unsung melodies of hearts that dared to hope? A slight tremble coursed through the air, as each individual acquainted themselves with the feelings left unaddressed: grief, the tenacity, the fire that ignites in the face of shadow. Have we truly listened to their stories? Or have we allowed the loud claims of society to drown them out? Miriam pondered aloud. What if Mary's strength was not solely her own, but a culmination of the voices of women before her? Like a prayer that rises, echoes through the ages, drip by drip shaping the very essence of faith? In that glade, under the watchful sky, they began to understand that the act of listening, the act of truly hearing, was vital. They strolled imaginatively through the lives of many, feeling the grief of mothers who yearned for their children and the struggles of daughters who dared to dream beyond their confines. With each narrative, they acquired deeper insight into their own paths, realizing that faith thrived not in isolation, but in the collective struggle and resilience of many. As they gathered once more, set on the edge of the gathering and looking out to the horizon, an unspoken bond formed among them, fortified by the interconnectedness of their histories. It became clear to them that Mary's story was but one drop in the ocean of women's experiences. They could feel the urgency of their mission intertwining with a provincial quest to bring understanding and shed light on those often overlooked. Could it be, they now wondered, that in the quest for truth about Mary, they might unearth a greater revelation about the sacred threads of womanhood? What hidden truths lay in the shadows, waiting for them to uncover the legacy shared by countless women who built the foundation upon which Mary's faith rested? Would the gathering of their diverse insights ignite a flame that could pierce through time and inspire future generations? As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, they were left longing for deeper answers. Amidst an unfolding mystery, yet to be fully grasped. As the fiery hues of dusk settled over the glade, the group resumed their walk toward the rocky hill. Each step was imbued with a sense of purpose, as if the very earth beneath them resonated with the questions they dared to ask. Nathaniel, still captivated by the images of the wildflowers, turned to his companions. Do you think our inquiry might lead us to discover more than Mary's truth? What if we trace back her legacy, uncovering those who walked before her, those who shaped the faith that would envelop her? Bethany nodded, her heart racing with excitement. Consider how the women of old may have inspired her, enduring their trials in faith, their footsteps leading her to that fateful moment of choice. The thought lingered in the air like perfume, fragrant with revelation. Each woman, each name so often glossed over in our stories, might have carried within her a piece of the wisdom that Mary embodied. Leah now walked with a determined gait, her mind whirling with possibilities. The word virgin, how it has been interpreted throughout centuries. What if, instead of solely an emblem of purity, it also portrayed a deep connection to the divine, the kind of trust in the unseen? Could it not also signify an initiation into a truth that transcends time, a shared experience of abandonment and hope? Miriam, inspired, interjected, if we could reconnect with those forgotten names, imagine the power we might unleash. The narratives of the matriarchs of Sarah and Rebecca, of Leah and Rachel, so rich in struggle and desolation, could unveil the steadfastness that flowed through Mary's veins. Might it be that through the line of women around her, an ancestral wisdom was imparted, guiding her steps? The further they climbed, the heavier their hearts grew, yet it was a heaviness mixed with hope. The air became charged, almost electric, as if the weight of generations hung before them. Thoughts swirled about not only the embodiment of Mary's story, but the entirety of womanhood across the ages. As they crested the hill, the vastness of the sky opened above them, displaying a tapestry of stars blinking awake in the emerging night. Nathaniel pointed toward the North Star, standing resolute among its companions. That, too, could serve as a symbol, the singular savior in the sky, he mused. Much like Mary, unyielding in the darkness, guiding countless souls toward faith. Their conversation gradually drifted toward the poignant question of whether Mary's divine ascension was a singular event or a dawning that began with the whispers of those who carried her legacy. It raises a compelling thought. Bethany spoke softly. What if her story intertwines with the essence of divinity that resides in every woman? Might it be that Mary's ascendant moment was less about her physical body and more about the spiritual ascent of womanhood as a whole? What then becomes of us? Leah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. If our understanding of Mary expands, How then do we redefine our own identities? What does it mean to rise, to ascend, in our faith, knowing we are guided by a lineage rich with the experiences of those before us? Carried by curiosity intertwined with reverence, they found themselves enveloped in a silence as the stars twinkled down upon them, the universe reminding them of both the vastness of their quest and the intimacy of their shared stories. Tucking these thoughts away in their hearts for the journey ahead, the group descended the rocky hill, each retaining the weight of unanswered questions, mingling with the echoes of their reflections. As they drew closer to the gathering point, they sensed the heartbeat of a deeper truth lingering just beyond their grasp. Would the revelation of Mary's legacy as a collective experience inspire them toward personal ascents of their own? Or would the shadows of untouched narratives beckon them deeper into mystery? As the group made their way down the hill, the soft whisper of the evening breeze tangled with their thoughts. Each step seemed to resonate more deeply, as if every footfall upon the ground was a prayer, a seeking of clarity beneath the canopy of stars. The radiant constellations above reminded them of the ancient stories written in the heavens, tales of journeys, struggles, and monumental triumphs that echoed with their OWNT. The base of the hill, they reached a clearing surrounded by ancient olive trees, their gnarled roots reaching deep into the earth, linking them to centuries of wisdom untold. The serenity of the sight invited contemplation, and they gathered beneath the protective boughs, the lantern of their collective curiosity flickering lightly in the twilight. What do you think these trees have witnessed? Nathaniel pondered aloud, tracing a thumb over the rough bark of a nearby trunk. Each ring within their core tells a part of the Earth's story, a history rich and layered, much like the women we seek to understand. Are there echoes of Mary's legacy even here, infused into their very being? His questions invited the spirit of inquiry to dwell among them, yearning for connection beyond their immediate quest. Leah nodded, captivated by the thought. What if, through our exploration, we find not just the pivotal moments of Mary's life, but intersecting stories of sorrow and perseverance? Every woman whose prayers rose like incense may have added a layer to the truth of her identity. In their prayers, did they not also pray for that miraculous moment, for the birthing of hope into a world steeped in shadows? There is power in the prayers of women, Miriam added, wrapping her arms around her knees as she sat on the cool grass. In the scriptures, we often overlook the quiet influence of women interceding, their voices often silenced by history. Perhaps they are the vessels through which divine truth flowed, just as Mary carried the Holy Child. What would it reveal about her if we listened for their whisperings? How easy it is to forget, Bethany reflected, that each woman's struggle and strength contributes to the greater narrative of faith. It binds us all into a tapestry woven with threads of resilience and grace. Is that not true of our own stories? We, too, carry a legacy forged by those who came before us. The weight of their contemplation huddled together like the cool breeze that danced through the clearing, uniting them in a quest for clarity and connection. They looked up again at the night sky, the stars now brighter, twinkling with unspoken truths yearning to be unwrapped. What if? Nathaniel broke the silence, Mary's divine ascent. That moment we are all drawn towards. What if it is not merely a solitude event marking her elevation, but an invitation for all women across generations to rise into their own truth? Could it be a call to honor the divine within themselves? A collective hush fell upon the group, each grappling with the power of Nathaniel's suggestion. If Mary's story could illuminate the paths of all women, what might it illuminate for them personally? Leah's voice broke through the stillness. And if we are indeed called to rise, how do we carry that call into our own lives? What does it mean to ascend in our respective journeys? Can faith itself become a lifting force? A thought-provoking question hung in the air, heavy and expectant. The stars twinkled mischievously, as if they too were pondering the mysteries of ascension that lay before the seekers gathered under their watchful gaze. The night felt alive with questions that transcended time, each moment bringing them closer to unraveling the divine mystery of Mary and her legacy. As they sat in silence, seeking understanding from both their hearts and the universe, they realized that while Mary's story remained cryptic, the journey to uncover the connection between her and the lineage of women was only just beginning. And there, Within the shimmering embrace of the cosmos, their hearts quietly resonated with one final question. What would it take for them to embrace their own ascent, knowing they carried with them a legacy that stretched across time, filled with wisdom yet to be revealed? In the stillness of the night, under a sky swirling with stars that seemed to blink in approval, the anticipation among the gathered grew stronger, as if the very air thickened with sacred promise. They felt the shadows of doubt begin to flutter, replaced by a subtle shimmer of unity. The stories they wandered through, each steeped in the essence of Mary, intertwined gracefully with the countless untold narratives of women who walked before her. With this connection ignited, an invisible thread bound them together not only as seekers of truth, but as bearers of faith, each one indelibly shaped by the legacies of those who had once scrawled their hopes in the book of life. Miriam, emboldened by the murmurs of revelation, stood at the edge of the clearing and spoke with clarity, her voice resonating with a serene authority. Tonight, dear friends, as we journey deeper into the mystery, let us ponder the call to ascend, not only in spirit but in action. If Mary's legacy is to carry forth love and compassion, can we not embody that same spirit? Are we not prompted to step into the fullness of our identities, embracing our divine call? Words swept through the group like a gentle wind, wrapping around them in warmth. As the lines of their stories intersected and intertwined, they began to feel an awakening, a transformative realization that their paths, although distinct, were bound together through the shared essence of womanhood. They carried within them an empowering legacy that transcended eras, a divine strength meant to uplift, inspire, and heal. Across the gathered faces, silence blossomed into a garden of understanding. Leah nodded thoughtfully. In our ascent, embracing who we are might very well unleash a force of compassion that the world yearns for. What each of us carries, our burdens, our joys, our fears, can illuminate pathways in darkness, just as Mary's story has illuminated ours. We are meant to rise together. As they stood encircled by ancient oaks, grounding their dreams in the communion of faith that surged through them, Nathanael felt the swell of certainty rising from the depths of his being. Imagine if we devoted ourselves to living out the virtues Mary exemplified: mercy, courage, and unwavering love. If we weave our lives in service, how might our small actions ripple outward, seeing the divine truth she birthed? In that moment, a powerful revelation seized their hearts. They understood that Mary's divine ascent was not simply an event in the cosmos. It was a clarion call for every woman, for every soul to recognize their own luminous potential. With each story shared, with every vulnerability revealed, they uncovered the grace to resilient ascension rooted in community and kinship. Emboldened by this newfound clarity, Miriam again spoke, her voice steady with conviction. Therefore, let this reflection not merely remain a whisper in time, but transform into action. Let us honor Mary, weaving the essence of her story into our own by lifting each other. May we serve as vessels of divine love, reminding ourselves and others of the beauty in rising together. The air became electric with purpose, lighting the darkened corners of their minds. Amidst their shared energy, an unspoken commitment took form, a promise to forge ahead, to embody the love and strength that had enlivened Mary. Each soul present grasped this mission that extended beyond the boundaries of their gathering. It was a call to give voice to the silenced, to nurture hope in a world aching for light. As they stood together, the stars above twinkling with ancient wisdom, the subtle reminder of their interconnectedness resonated. Where shadows threatened to dim their spirits, it became clearer than ever. They were not alone. Together, they were both the branches of the same tree and the roots that sank deep into the earth, drawing strength from the stories of generations past. In a crescendo of resolve, they joined hands, forming a circle that pulsed with light. The unyielding spectrum of their commitment radiated into the night, each one a vessel of divine potential, each determined to embody the essence of love that Mary had so profoundly gifted the world. As the first light of dawn began to break on the horizon, casting golden rays that bathed them in warmth, a quiet understanding washed over them. The stories they cherished and the path they envisioned were destined to shape not only their own lives, but those who would come after them. They had uncovered a truth that reached far beyond their moment in time, that I in this final chapter of their gathering. A profound affirmation echoed from within, a promise to rise and carry forth the truth of their existence, the legacy of love unbound. And as the sun crowned the sky with its glorious glow, they knew their stories, intertwined with the divine, had just begun to unfurl. Their journey had not ended. It had merely transformed into a beginning, a new dawn illuminating a purpose laced with grace and gratitude. Echoing through the ages, Mary's ascent became not just her own, but a beacon for Alakal to rise and shine. Their hearts beat as one, united in faith, inspired to continue the mission of love, hope, and transformation as they stepped forward into tomorrow. Unafraid and resolute, in their ascent, they found the truth that their lives echoed in the stories of women who had risen before them, an eternal promise written in the stars, forever guiding souls to embrace the light within.